Hi. Hello.
Ah.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of We've Got This Maybe, the podcast.
I feel that needs to be a ringtone, Erin.
I think we need to up our game, do a little bit of some re-recording, get the jingle in now. We're experienced. We're 32 episodes in.
Stop it, are we?
We are. I think we need a bit of a refresh.
Yes, I think just, we're evolving.
We are. It's coming, guys. It's coming. Some new headshots and a jingle.
Perhaps. Don't me.
No. Well, this one today is a good one. And we've purposefully not spoken too much about this topic ahead of the conversation. We're talking about how dating, I guess, has changed or evolved over the years, and it's fair to say you and I haven't dated for many years. We're in long-term committed relationships, and we know, because you've told us all previously, that you and Lawrence met on Tinder.
We did, yeah.
But I'm really interested to track back before things like Tinder. It's a generational change now. Like, a lot of people I meet that are, in relationships have met on an app or something similar. And you don't often get those like funny, like dating relationship stories now. So that's what we're going to unpick.
Well, yeah. And I think it's interesting because, again, in your life, as you're growing up, there's like phases of dating. There's different types of dating.
Yeah.
Because like when you were a teenager, you were like, you just had to like agree it and then you're dating and it's done.
Yeah, and you'd be together for months and months and months, and you'd only ever see each other at lunchtime or something like that, like boyfriend and girlfriend. And so let's go right back to the start now. Like, when was your first like boyfriend? Like, how old were you when you first were getting into that boyfriend thing?
14.
All right, that's like a proper boy. Okay.
That was like a proper, but like you say, it's one of those things. And again, I think I have mentioned it here. I went to boarding school. So you're saying only see them at lunchtimes. I only saw them at holidays. And even then, the fact that we lived like 3 hours apart at different boarding schools, like it was like, where are we going to see each other? Oh, maybe once a year. Let's do that.
How did you meet them then?
So they were a friend of a friend, and it just so happened that they went to boarding school. I went to boarding school, and he was up in Northumberland. I was down in Yorkshire, and we met through this mutual friend and started dating. So we had a summer together.
And summer loving.
Exactly.
Sort of thing.
Yeah, he'd kill me if he knew I was talking about this and that, if relating it to Greece. But yes, so we met through a mutual friend, and we kind of spent the summer together. And then it was really exciting because I came back with obviously a boyfriend to school, and I was one of the few with a boyfriend, and it was quite a big deal. Everybody's like, "Oh my God, you got a boyfriend!"
Did you speak?
So at boarding school, there was like an old school like phone.
Okay.
Like you could use the phone, the phone cards. Like a BT.
I know what
phone
you mean.
box.
Yeah.
So it was one of those at school. We'd phone each other. He'd phone me, and we'd have to arrange a time. But it was letters. It was all letters, and it was pages of A4. But it wasn't just me writing to him. This is the difference. And if anybody did attend boarding school, they'd probably do it as well. I don't know, maybe it was just us, who knows. But all your friends would write as well. And they would write to all his friends, and his friends would write back at the same time. So there's like a mob of you. So there's my big letter to him. And then all my mates would be like, "Hi, I'm so-and-so. And I'm, and I was called Proc at school. That was my nickname. So they'd be like, "Hi, I'm Proc's like dorm mate. I'm from here. Where are you from?" type of thing. Like, and they'd be writing to his mates, and it was this whole exchange. So you'd get like a bumper envelope arrive for you.
Yeah, I love it. So you're in boarding school, but you've got this like group of boys from somewhere else.
Yeah.
You've all suddenly become
friends. It's very bizarre. So you're literally, it's like something out of the war where you're like pen pals, and you're going, "Oh, I miss you too." Like, it's all about like,
That's so funny because when I asked that question, I was thinking, okay, so I remember being in primary school and you'd be like,
oh, you were going,
when you be my boyfriend, will you be my girlfriend? And the funniest thing was when Freddie and Sophia were together a few weeks ago, I overheard the whole I'll marry you conversation. Right, she told you this.
Told me, yeah.
Right, so it started. So the day started. So for everyone out there, I took Freddie and Sophia out for an afternoon a few weeks back, and it all started lovey-dovey as it always does. They're going to marry each other.
Yeah.
By the end of it, I think they'd had quite enough, and Freddie said he was no longer going to be married to Sophia anymore.
Yeah.
And then Sophia was like, but why? You told me you'd marry me.
Yeah, she was very upset about the commitment, like the anti-commitment. That's where she was more upset
I
about.
said to Sophia, you'll learn this about men, Sophia. They're non-committal.
Yeah. But Freddie and Sophia have been a bit of a thing. Like ever since they started together, they've kind of like, you know, they're always the ones having a little bit of a moment together.
The first message I ever sent you in isolation was when I'd gone to collect Freddie from school and him and Sophia had a smooch at the gate.
I think you're right. Yeah, I remember that.
And I sent you a message. It was like, oh my God, they've just kissed at the gate.
Yeah, I think they're going to be that couple that, you know, it'd be like Ross and Rachel. Will they? Won't they?
They were like in an old married couple a couple of weeks ago. It was hilarious that really did trigger it back in terms of it starts really young.
It does. So with you talking about that, then can you remember back then where you were like, can you be my boyfriend?
Yeah, oh yeah,
yeah.
So being in primary school, definitely, but it was literally just that. It was a statement.
Okay.
It wasn't anything more than a statement of, will you be my boyfriend? Yeah. And all of your mates would like huddle around you and, what are you going to ask? Are you not going to ask? It meant nothing, but it meant everything at the same time.
Yeah.
But I remember, you know, starting senior school, and it's at that point you get that like variation of like stage that people are at. So you get the people that, you know, haven't ever had any interaction with boys, and then you've got the people that have had like loads of boyfriends and all of that sort of stuff. But I remember, like, I would say like my first like proper date, I guess. Like I went to the cinema with this boy. It was so awkward. Like thinking about it now, it's so cringe. So I think I can't remember where I met him, first of all, and I can't remember his name. But I remember we then went to the cinema and we like loitered outside the cinema, like not really talking, and then like just walking around the block and then going in to watch a movie. And I don't know who ever thought up going to a cinema was a really good idea for a date.
Do you know what? So when I was dating with pre-Lawrence, that was one of my big no-nos. Oh, let's go to the cinema. No, because then I'm going to sit and not talk to you for 2 hours. Like, no.
Well, maybe that's
I want to talk to you and get to know you.
Well, because maybe when you're a teenager, that's the easiest thing. You just get
totally
to sit in silence. But it was so awkward. And then you have that whole stage in your life where you're like, oh, are they going to give you a kiss?
Oh, jeez. Yeah, God.
And it's so awkward. Honestly, I'm going like, all the different.
One of the things I have lived my life without understanding or knowing is the different bases. What are they?
Oh, what an American term.
Like, you know, there's like, oh, did you get to second base? Okay. And I'm like, I don't know what they are. I mean, first base must be kissing.
Yeah.
And I was like, what are they all?
So I think second base is like handsy.
Oh, straight in then.
A bit handsy. Third base is a bit of everything else, and then like fourth base is
doing the deed.
Yeah.
Well, that escalated quick.
Yeah, that's my understanding of it.
Okay, all right, that's fair enough. Because that's how like my friends used to say, "Oh, did you get second base?" And I'm going, I really don't know what you're on about.
Oh, all the lingo. Oh my goodness, all the lingo. But it was like so, and we used to have like people would have like 13th birthday parties, and everyone would just be like standing in the corner, like doing that weird like shuffle dancing with each other or kissing, and it was like,
okay, Erin, I need to ask, did you play Spin the Bottle?
We did, right? But we're talking about, I have this vivid memory of probably being 14 or 15, literally after school in my friend's living room, and he lived near the school, probably 4 of us, and it was just a constant spin the bottle, take your tie off, spin the bottle, take your sock off, spin the bottle.
What? Spin the bottle?
Under your shirt. Because this was probably like before like the serious like kissing dares. It was just being a little bit like a bit naughty, like undoing our shirt, or maybe just like wearing a bra or something like that. And
yeah, I never did that. It was just the kissing thing. You had to kiss each other and you had to do like a peck, or they had to kiss for like 5 seconds, and then then there was like tongues or something. It was like there was
maybe we were a bit older than that, because I do remember it getting to that point when it was all everyone was doing is just like kissing.
Yeah. It's so different, isn't it?
And kissing multiple people in the same like time frame.
It's so bizarre when you think about what a relationship sort of stood for, like you were saying about when you were younger, you know, and you just think, Jesus, like you've done the half of it.
No, it's awful. So tell me then, like, so first like proper like date, so outside of like your cinema dates, like first like proper like grown up date, or first like that sort of thing?
Yeah, it was back at boarding school, and it was when it was when you were out in half term, or you were kind of, you know, meeting up with friends where they lived near some of the boys, and because obviously at boarding school, British from everywhere. You know, so you go and stay with your friends sometimes for the weekend or for the couple of days, what have you. And when they lived near some boys, or they're all brothers were so important. Yeah. An all girls school. If you had brothers, you were instantly popular. And you know, you'd meet up with their brothers' mates and things like that. And I remember going to one of my friends in Lincolnshire, and I'd gone on a date, and we'd gone down to the river.
Oh,
and we sat on the, like, you know, what do you call it, the jetty thing. We sat on the jetty, like, and he'd brought like a box of Maltesers. You know,
nice.
I mean, premium. It was a box,
yeah.
You know, box, not the bag.
Yeah.
And I think we had some Schlur.
Oh,
so you like fizzy drinks,
lovely.
You know. And it was like, it was like an evening, and then I had to go back to my friend's house. And I think she'd been on a date. As well. Very funny.
How old were you then?
Probably 17.
Yeah.
16, 17.
Because I remember, so we had maybe just started using things like Facebook or MySpace. I can't remember which one it might have been, or Bebo, like one of the early ones.
Yeah.
Probably not Facebook, actually. And you'd like add these people as a friend, and I was maybe 14 or 15, and I'd, you know, connected with this person, and he was like, at the time, like so handsome, he really was. And I don't think I had a proper mobile phone at this point, because I remember we'd agreed to meet somewhere and I had to get the bus, and then I got off at the wrong stop, because this is where you had to plan your journey to the dance. I had never got the bus this way before, and he'd sort of just explained to me where I have to get off.
Yeah.
And I didn't ring the bell in time. And then the bus sort of drove past the bus stop, and then I didn't really have any means of contacting him. Like all a bit chaotic. But anyway, I found him, and then I can't remember what we done. I went to the park or something like that. But this was like first, for me, I guess, sort of like the app thing. So we met online. We predominantly spoke online, MSN, you know.
The chat, the messenger, yeah.
Braille. And then we'd meet up like every week, once a week, but we wouldn't really speak between that time unless we were on MSN.
It's so interesting, isn't it? Kind of the way that whole kind of online relationship thing evolved. Because I remember, what was that website called where you could, is it Recommend My Friend or something? Or it was like a dating app, a dating website, you know, like Plenty of Fish.
Yeah.
But it was where, was it called My Single Friend?
Yes, yeah, I know what you're talking about. You put your friend on it.
Friend recommend you. and stuff like that. And all these different kind of things that kind of came out the woodwork as that whole online kind of interactive, communication sort of era started, compared to now, and where people are fully reliant because there's no other way of doing it. But people don't meet people in bars anymore.
Like we started our conversations online, and then we would still meet because we didn't have that advance. And I remember one boyfriend I had, again, I met him online because it was mutual friends. It wasn't a stranger, because on MySpace and Facebook and all of that at the time, it was all around mutual friends, like friend of a friend of a friend from school or another school, something like that. And he would call my house phone. So we were still in that era of, call the house phone, speak for 59 minutes, hang up, call back again. Yeah. So you get the free call. And then meet up every week. And I remember when it then started to advance more, as we grew up into just lots of just chatting to people online, speaking to different people online, and it being more of that online thing. Webcam.
The webcam.
Yeah, in hindsight, right, that feels to me really strange.
Yeah, it's a bit awkward now, isn't it? You can I don't really want to do that anymore.
But is it any different to our kids having FaceTime or whatever? I guess we put all the controls in place. But I remember getting that webcam. My parents bought it because I said I wanted to speak to my friends because MSN was a big thing at the time. And, it's a bit not very savoury now, I think. You just be on webcam to people, strange.
But we've talked about this before, where I think, we didn't know what we were doing. We were the generation that just were new to everything. Yeah. We were exploring everything. And like I'm saying about we started on the MSN messages or the AOL chat groups or whatever. And then it progressed. And, the dating changed because you were, doing part of it online, but then you were doing still offline dating. And there was still, I think, a whole dating culture in the bars and pubs, and you were still meeting friends at parties, and you're still doing it that way.
Did you meet lots of people at parties, or things so you
at
formed relationships?
Particularly, at university, definitely a lot of my kind of dating came from house parties, came from mates, and this is my friend. It might not even be a friend at uni. It might be their mates come down for the weekend, or all my friends have come down or whatever. So it was a lot of social. It wasn't online. It was really, I would say, the online dating stuff happened for me when I moved to London in 2006, 2007. That's when I started properly doing online dating. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
See, I don't ever really feel like I'd done either of it. I never done online dating. So I have never actually been on any dating apps. I've never had a Tinder profile, none of that. And I only can think of maybe one or two people I've ever met out and about. Most other people I've ever had relationships with have been people I know.
You knew that you knew through people.
Yeah, really strange. And the couple of random people I have met out, it's been random and it's never gone anywhere. I remember I was on a night out once celebrating a friend's birthday, and I'd met somebody at the time, didn't speak to them, and then they found me on Facebook or something like that weeks and weeks and weeks after that, because they'd had a mutual friend with me that they'd found. Can't really remember the story. And at this point I was like, sod it, what have I got to lose? They're putting themselves out there, I may as well put myself out there. And we went on a really a fun date. We went to Camden, we went to the Cuban bar, and it was fun, and all the good intentions were there, but it was so awkward. When you think it's going to be good and then you meet somebody one-on-one and it's awful. And I think that's what sometimes the apps take out of it, because with this guy I'd had a couple of messages back and forth, and then I met him, whereas on the apps you're almost so much further in by the point that you meet them.
Well, I mean, you say that as a, and I will call myself a an dating expert, because I would say it's hit triple digits pre-Lawrence. I was a serial dater. I was obsessed. And part of me was very curious about people, and I was trying to find someone because I didn't want to be single. And I was very curious to find the one, like the person that I wanted to kind of be with. But at the same time, like I was on everything. I was on Hinge, I was on Bumble, I was on Tinder, I was on Plenty of Fish, I was on I'm sure there was others, like there's loads. I was on everything. And there were some people who will talk to you for like message you, a couple of messages, and then let's meet.
Yeah.
And then other people would message and message and message and message, and you go, hey, should we meet up? And they're like, oh yeah, I'd love to, but this week's a bit busy. And they keep you hanging and keep you hanging. And I'm sure there's a number of buzzwords that I should be using for this, but this was the thing, is that there was, I would say, an element to it where the apps took some of it out, but then other times it didn't, because I mean, it just shows that the amount of dates that I went on, and I mean, I'm not joking when I say 3 digits. It was in, like, I would say 100 that I went on, and in terms of different men, and I would know instantly within the first hour, and my friends would ring me and they'd ask me about the weather, and if I said, no, it seems all right, actually, I don't think there's any rain coming, they knew that I was okay. And then if I said, oh, I don't know, it does look a bit dark outside, it might mean, and then basically what that would meant for them is that 40 minutes later they had to ring me with an emergency so I could get out.
And you don't think the other person sussed this?
Yeah, but at the same time, I didn't care.
I love this. So, like, what was your, I guess, like, craziest, funnest, whatever, like, date that you'd been on? Like, did you like really date, or were you just like doing things? So I don't ever feel like I really like dated. I don't have a really good like dating history in terms of like, oh, we went on these amazing dates, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I definitely have some amazing stories. I've unfortunately got some very dark stories as well. So, I would definitely say in all dating as women, you do have to be very careful and on your guard. Unfortunately, I've had 3 bad incidents of going on a date with someone and, things happened which were not savory. But yeah, so the craziest date, I reckon the craziest date was that I got taken behind the stage of a musical.
What?
Yeah. They were in, was it Tina? It was either Tina or Michael Jackson. I can't remember which one it was now. But yeah, I got taken behind stage and I saw the musical from behind the stage. That was
amazing.
That was awesome. One very, very wealthy gentleman took me to, they basically took me to a bar on Trafalgar Square, looking over Trafalgar Square, and they had paid to have part of the bar like cornered off for us, for just the 2 of us. What? And we drank champagne watching the sunset over Trafalgar Square. That was amazing. So this is the interesting thing. There's a lot of boys, men, whatever, out there who want to make a great first impression. And then there's a couple that will hang back.
Yeah.
And then a couple of dates in, they'll show you.
So I was going to ask, so how old are you at this point? Because I feel like these are quite mature.
Right. 35.
Okay. Right.
34, 35, yeah.
I had children by this point.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So my dating profile is much younger. And that's where I feel like, I expected less, or maybe I wanted more, but I was quite happy with less because that's just the age.
It was just,
the age that we were in. And even then when Rory and I got together, he was, I don't know, 26, 27. I was like 24, 25, something like that. Like, we didn't go out on dates really. Like, we occasionally would go out for a drink. we might go for food, but it was never like a date. Like,
Not like a date.
no,
it wasn't like,
no, I don't ever remember us being like, oh, we're gonna have this date. Like I go to his house, or we'd like just chill out. It wasn't a cool fun date, and then I see or hear like other people doing stuff, and it's like amazing with these experiences. But I think maybe that is an age thing. Like if I was dating now, right, I'd be like up here, like way up here in terms of what I'd be wanting to do.
And if you think about it as well, because you were younger, like you're saying, like there wasn't a huge drive to kind of do these massive experiences or these, impress each other, because like you say, there was less need, there was less requirement in a way, because you're younger, you're quite happy with each other. Whereas like, I mean, again, this is my own personal experience and exposure to this, but when I was going out on dates when I was mid-30s, I had a lot more like a higher standard, but also people have a lot more baggage that they want to hide.
Oh, what when that
they want to distract you with really impressive dates.
Oh, that's interesting.
So that's where, again, you get a couple of dates in where like the first date's really amazing and you're like, oh my God, this guy's incredible.
Showy, very showy.
But kind, generous, like would, infantilize you with this amazing story of their life and all these things. And then their true colours would come out maybe date 3. And the things like that, where it took a couple of dates in before you realised, nah, not for me.
Yeah. Because now when I think about it, at the age I met Rory, and Rory and I got together, whatever, it feels so young.
Yeah, on average now, that is young. Yeah.
It feels so young. And to think like all of these experiences, like he and I like really had nothing to hide. Like we've barely had very much to give.
Well, that's because that's where, I mean, it's not a patronizing thing. It's not a derogatory thing. The fact that you were young, there was nothing accumulated to, the achievements weren't there for you to go, oh, well, I've done this and I've done that, or la la. You're just literally, oh, I like this movie. I love going to this place on holiday. This is what I want to do with my life. This is, it's all kind of,
it was all built around like values and goals or whatever, not anything that we'd actually achieved so far.
Yeah.
It was more things that what we wanted to.
And you wanted to try and do together, like what you'd do together type of thing. Yeah. And that's where, again, it's a beautiful innocence, I think, that happens when you do meet someone younger, but when you get, there was a lot of, I would say it was like a roller coaster when I was dating, because there was a lot of like the ghosting and a lot of the catfishing and a lot of that kind of stuff going on. And you kind of just embraced it because it was part of the dating scene. It was just part of the risk. And, because my problem is that I would not go into a bar or pub or anywhere like that and meet someone physically, just chatting at the bar. Because if a man came up to me in a bar or a pub or something and said, oh, can I buy you a drink? Or, chat to me, I would instantly shut them down. I'd be like, no, because I don't trust you. What's your intentions? Why are you doing this? And it was unfortunately just due to the fact at university I had an incident where, I was coming home very late from a house party, literally 300 yards from my house. And unfortunately I got attacked. And it just, I know men, I could not trust men. So the apps like hid me. In a way, I was hidden in these apps, and then I was kind of in control to a point, as much as I felt I could have been. But then, obviously, like I said, there was some unsavory things that happened. So
I think that what you've just said, right, that situation never happened to me, right? But I can honestly, hand on heart, say I don't think I have ever had a one night stand. I've never had anyone back to my house, and I've never gone back to anyone's house when I've just met them, because I feel subconsciously I was always aware of that risk. Like I've only ever, progressed a relationship with somebody that I either knew through somebody else or I'd known them long enough to feel that trust. Whereas I know people who, and it's not that it's a wrong thing to do, but would literally meet somebody and within a few hours they'd be somewhere with them and you just wouldn't be able to get hold of them.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, look, I've got a lot of friends who, you know, would literally go on an app to seek someone out to meet them after they had a night out.
Okay.
Like they would meet, and it wouldn't be a person they know. It would be just a newbie, but like, hey, do you fancy like coming around to mine, having a quick, you know, how's your father?
Wow. See, that to me, that's wild. I get it.
That's it.
I get it.
People, horses for courses, isn't it? It's
But
like,
it's wild. The risk, it's just, for me, it's just not there. And I don't know where my awareness came from that, because, you know, we've had conversations about me having like different tolerance to risk and perhaps not seeing it in the same way as other people. But yeah, that for me just was never something that I done.
no, and that's where it's so different these days, I think, as well. Like, I mean, again, this goes back to the conversation I think we were having a couple episodes ago about our children and sort of the way that we would trust them these days versus what we were trusted to do. Like, I think there's more exposure to the risk now for women, you know, particularly, you know, when I was living in London, I was dating in London, you know, there's a lot of that's multi-layered risk right there, instead of you living in, you know, a quiet village and just, you know, there's a post office and a shop, you know, I mean, I know there's risk everywhere, but, you know, with London, I was always so heightened to everything.
Just lots of different groups of people, isn't there?
Well, that's it. You just
so much.
you never know, and you know there's stories that do come out of London and things like that. You know, and it's a massive sweeping statement, I know, but that's how I kind of judged it as well, like with the dating.
I don't know about you, like I don't have that many single friends now, but you know, in the last few years, so if I track back to, you know, COVID times or all that sort of thing, I did have quite a few single friends. And I felt, you know, really sad for them, because even prior to COVID, you know, the ability to go out and meet people had really changed, and COVID highlighted that a lot. And, you know, the fallout from COVID and everything, it's going back a little bit to normal now. But I would look at some of my friends that were, you know, approaching 30, and you know, nobody was really in that meeting people out on a night out thing anymore. And I'm like, well, how are you ever going to meet anyone? Most of your friends are in relationships, not really up for going out. You're not going out that much. Where do you meet people? Like,
where online?
And where are our kids going to meet people? Like, we were in that generation where you would go into the office, you would be exposed, you'd travel on the tube, you'd give someone the eye on the tube, have that little bit of flirt, all of that sort of thing. Now, 3-4 days a week, you're at home.
Yeah, remote working. And again, this is where the social construct that comes with society will change anyway. So there is, you know, there's people that are saying there's a cycle. We're going to go through the rotation where everybody's going to suddenly be back in the office because of the lack of socialization. But then there's other people that are saying that, you know, we all have to recognize that we're going to become a more distant, you know, we're not going to know how to socialize.
I think people of our age will retain this home working thing, but I think like the younger people will probably go in more. And I think in my company, I do see that we do a lot of like grad programs and stuff like that, and they all love going in. They do, because they're also probably encouraged to go in and form those relationships, have those conversations, and meet those people. Because I know, you know, the exposure that I got to different people within my company just from being in the office and where that put me, you know, we have lost that.
Yeah, and it's a really interesting one, because we've got so we did a piece of work at our work about home working, and what was really interesting is that there was two polarized groups of young people. There was the ones that didn't see the need of the office at all, because everything's online. Why do I need an office? Why do I need to, you know, I can do everything from my home desk and I can live my best life by, you know, doing other stuff. Now, again, I don't know context. This is purely like a bit of work that they did around understanding people's needs. And then, like you say, there was a group of young people who needed the office. They needed socializing. They wanted the office softball team. They wanted drinks on a Friday. They wanted, you know, payday drinks or whatever. And again, there was this real like polarized opposite sort of opinion on what young people felt is needed and required.
And it's so like we've spoken about before, like in terms of like wanting to go into work, like such a big thing for me of going into work was finding that independence, being out of the house, discovering myself, like discovering other people, like just, you know, being my own person. And I think if you're 16 years old, 17, 18 years old, you're going out and finding your job, and then you're working in like the spare room of your parents' house or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like, what are you gaining from that? Like, what independence? It's really all on you to, you know, to initiate those Teams messages with somebody that you've seen on the higher, like the structure chart or something like that. And how do you then form those? Like Rory and I met at work, right? Had him and I not have been pushed together in that work environment and we were working from home, would we have ever invented in that situation?
No, completely. I absolutely agree, because like you say, we come from a generation where we were in the office, we established a ground relationship sort of that we have with everybody. So when you do go into the hybrid working, it's not as bad because you've already established those relationships, whereas kids don't. But this is it's a really interesting one, and I am really curious to see what happens, because you know, when I look at George and Maxwell, who are 13 and 10, they're socializing with their mates online and they feel that's okay. You know, that they don't need to see them physically.
But that's because they know them. But how would they do
Not
with meeting new people?
They met people online. They've met people playing PlayStation with them.
Okay, because that was my biggest thing is I feel like at my age now, if I started a new job and it was remote or whatever, I would feel confident enough to be able to reach out to people and make that introduction, make a video call, camera on, all of that sort of stuff. Whereas I think if you're starting out and you're not trained like that, it's very easy for you to like fall out of it.
So this is, and again, this would be, I'd really be interested to talk to someone like Maddie, who's 22, going to be 23 next month. She was very comfortable with FaceTimes and things with people she didn't know when she was in her teens. And I was like, oh, that's a bit weird. But she was very comfortable with it. So again, it's like you say, that confidence that comes with the physical kind of shoving them together in an office space. And, you know, when you're kind of like talking to someone over the, you know, thing. But then I'd be really interested to know her thoughts, because again, like, is she fine with it because they've grown up FaceTiming and doing lives and doing videos with each other with people they don't know? Or is it, like you say, there's an etiquette that they're lacking or missing?
Because I certainly feel like when I was that age, even in the office environment, you so heavily relied on other people introducing you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like I think everything has changed. Like when I think about us going to the cinema and having those really young dates, now you've got, and we picked up on it right at the start, you've got the Netflix and chill thing. So instead of actually going to a physical cinema, you're meeting somebody, bringing them to your house, chilling out, watching Netflix on the TV instead.
Yeah. See,
like that whole culture.
It's so different, isn't it? So again, I generally, obviously we don't know where it's going to head and we don't know what's going to happen, but I think there is such a big difference now, and it will be interesting to see where the kids kind of go and, you know, how they start. I'm desperate for the boys to start dating.
But this is it, and I want, do you know what, right? I want them to have those awkward experiences that we have, because as much as I'm sitting here going, oh my God, I'm giving myself the ick, oh my God, it's so cringe, like, and actually we would have spent more time delving into those embarrassing stories. I think it would have been hilarious. Maybe we have to do that for another day. But I want them to have those experiences because it's character, it's a part of life. I don't want it to be this like, I don't know,
awkward.
I just don't want it to be like all online and everything. Like they need to have those experiences.
I think you know, evolution comes with with everything, and who knows what'll, you know, be the next big thing. Might be some sort of you know, when you're sat hologrammed like together in a virtual cinema.
And do you know what? We laugh about that. But I remember growing up and we would joke about being able to see somebody on the phone.
Did you?
But do you not ever remember? Do you ever remember? So there was episodes of The Simpsons and episodes of Friends. Do you not remember the episode of Friends where Monica had that boyfriend and he was really rich and he had this video call and then they all jumped behind the sofa because he was on the video call in his house.
Oh yeah,
and it was wild then. And I remember in The Simpsons and they had like a spaceship and they'd done like a video call. We're like, how could you see someone when you're on the phone?
Yeah.
But now that's
crazy.
Real. That's just reality. That's everyday life for us. Like, so maybe having a hologram in X number of years' time, 15, 20 years' time.
Hey, well, it certainly lowers the risk in terms of, you know, as a woman, it lowers the risk on anything happening, doesn't it?
Like, I don't discount anything these days.
No.
Like, you know, and I think a conversation that we want to have is around, you know, AI and ChatGPT and all of that sort of stuff and how is it taking away our ability to learn anything. But, you know, at no point even 2 years ago did I think we would be using like AI in the way that we're doing now. Like AI was like a foreign language. Like AI,
it was
artificial intelligence.
Like a Hollywood thing.
Yeah, it's robots are going to take over the world. And now look at us.
Yeah. No, I think that's one. Yeah, we definitely need a new bottle of word for that one.
Yeah, definitely. We'll hold that one. Well, great conversation. And as always, guys, if you have anything you want us to talk about, please let us know. We love hearing your feedback. And if you haven't already, please subscribe, follow, like, review, share with your friends. Tell everybody about us. We love having you part of our little hubbub here.
Definitely. I think, I'm really proud of where we're going with this. And, you know, we need people to help us build this. So, definitely, if you've got anything you want to add, do it.
Yeah.
Don't think about it. Just do it.
As always, this conversation more than ever, I guess, but it's made me think like, we've got this maybe we do, maybe we don't. Who knows? We just figure it out as we go.
Exactly. But good chat.
Yeah, a good one. Love that one.
I'll see you next time.
Cheers. Oh, last it.